We're about halfway through the first year of my commitment to doing weekly videos on this channel, and I realized last week that I have never actually introduced myself or given basically any information about me and why I'm doing this or how I got into this situation to begin with. So for this video, we are rectifying that. I asked over on Instagram for people to give me some AMA questions, and this video is going to be answering them. If you have any burning questions that you'd like to be included the next time I do one of these, make sure you go follow me over there. It is at twin.sunns. It'll be linked down below along with all of my other short forms. I feel like we don't need any more introduction than that. Let's jump into it. The first question I have is, how long have you been making Star Wars content? Anything fun and exciting coming up? I actually had no idea how to answer the first part of this question, so I did have to scroll all the way back. My first post on my TikTok was December 19th, 2023. The first specifically Star Wars video that I posted was March 7th, 2024, and it was my reaction videos to watching Ahsoka Season 1 for the first time. I made my TikTok with the intention of posting like Disney parks content, but I very quickly learned that in most cases when you are making Disney parks content, you live near the parks or at the very least are going very frequently, and that is something that I was not doing, so it really did not make sense for me to be posting only about the Disney parks, and it kind of naturally progressed into me talking about Star Wars. As for exciting things coming up, what I have planned for the rest of this year currently is just going through the rest of my Star Wars chronological order stuff. I do have a ton of ideas for videos rolling around in my head for when we are finally through my spreadsheet. Soon we might be doing a mid-year check-in, because as of filming, I'm basically halfway on the spreadsheet, which is so exciting. And of course, I want to do analysis of my full spreadsheet, go through everything and give a full chronological order for anyone else who wants to do this after the spreadsheet is completely finalized. It's definitely a work in progress at this point. Besides the chronological order stuff, I'm really looking forward to doing some con vlogs. Unless something terrible happens, I am going to be at Rebel ScumCon this year, which I'm so excited about. I am going to attempt to vlog my experience there. Admittedly, I am very bad at vlogging. I've tried to do it in the Disney parks. There's only really 1 or 2 Disney vlogs that I'm like super proud of. Most of them haven't even reached the light of day, but I am trying to change that for my own purposes because I do love to go back and watch them and see what I was experiencing in that moment. So we're gonna try. Next question, how did you get into Star Wars? I'm going to try to keep this explanation as short as possible because I do have kind of a long-winded explanation. My father was very adamant on showing us Star Wars, us being myself and my twin, when we were what he deemed to be coherent enough to actually understand it, which I believe was around 7 or 8 years old. I honestly don't remember what year this was or how old I was. I remember being quite young. We had all of them on VHS, which at the time was not an uncommon thing. I remember him sitting us in front of our box TV. Don't remember a lot of that experience, but I have the active memory of me sitting there and going, why is he making me watch this right now? So if I'm remembering correctly, it was during our Sunday morning sit down and watch old cartoons / Adam West Batman / Star Trek / whatever else they were showing on Boomerang time, and I was just not into it at all. I didn't understand at all what was going on. I did not really care. And that was the extent of my Star Wars until 2015. The Force Awakens came out. And The Force Awakens, to be the least drastic and sappy as I possibly can be, truly changed my life. Going into that movie, I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm a Star Trek girly. I walked out of that film 100% sold on Star Wars. I became obsessed with it. I bought every piece of TFA merch I could get my hands on. I still have a lot of those Funko Pops to this day. I was obsessed. And that movie sparked me going and watching all of the other movies, diving into the lore, and I would not be sitting here right now if I had not gone and watched TFA. A very long story short, I got into Star Wars in 2015 when The Force Awakens came out. Alright, my next question here. Star Wars books that you will always recommend. There are quite a few, but I think I've narrowed it down to 10 that I can say confidently, so we're just gonna rapid fire with very little explanation. The first one is the Canto Bight short story collection. It is one of, if not my top favorite Star Wars book, if you count short story collections as a book, which jury's still out if I even do. It's immaculate, you have to read it, it's so fun. Lost Stars by Claudia Gray, immaculately written. Such a fun, heartbreaking, beautiful story. The Living Force by John Jackson Miller. I love John Jackson Miller's writing. The story is about the prequels era Jedi Council. It's so fun. The Revenge of the Sith novel by Matthew Stover, another all all time, like one of the best written things in Star Wars. Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade by Delilah S. Dawson, such a beautiful, very sad story about a Padawan turning to the dark side and what her headspace was kind of like to get into that. Battlefront 2 Inferno Squadron by Kirsty Golden. Again, a really fun, really sad story that takes you into the mind of people who were working with the Empire, truly believing that they were doing good in the galaxy. A Crash of Fate by Zaretta Cordova. This is a YA kind of love story. Dark Disciple, again by Kirsty Golden. I really, really like this one. This is the Quinlan Voss and Ventress story. To wrap it up, we've got 2 novelizations, the Rogue One novel and the Solo novel, specifically the extended edition. I'm not even sure if there is a non-extended edition, but just in case there is, make sure you get that one. All of those books have a very special place in my heart. After reading every single Star Wars novel last year, being in the year 2025, if you're watching this not in 2026, the ones I just read out definitely ended up being my favorites. If I could throw one more in there, it'd be The Crystal Crown by Tessa Gratton, which is the Jordan Jackie novel tie-in for The Acolyte. That one is very selfish. I love that book, mostly because I love Jordan Jackie. Next question, top 10 Star Wars characters of all time. I sat here thinking about this one for such a long time. I am extremely indecisive, so what I have to offer you, list of 10 characters in no particular order, and then some honorable mentions of characters who I cannot ungroup from the people that surround them, if that makes sense. The honorable mentions, Finn and Poe, I love them so much, but if one is on my list, the other has to be. Literally all of the Bad Batch. Again, it was very hard to put all of them on this list because it's so many characters, but I love them all so much. For the same reason, basically the entire cast of The Acolyte. The one actual, like, singular honorable mention I have is Jodna Nawad from Skeleton Crew. I think he is such a fun character. He didn't quite crack my top 10, but he would probably be top 15 or definitely top 20 if I were going to hold you here hostage all day just listing out Star Wars names. My actual top 10, again, in no particular order because I cannot do that. Leia Organa. I love her so much in literally every iteration we have ever gotten. She is always the best person in the room. Rey Skywalker. Again, literally the reason I got into Star Wars. I love her so drastically. Mon Mothma is such a beautiful character, both physically and in characterization. And I love the fact that we got so much of her story in Andor, even though it is very hard for me to watch because I'm so attached to her. Along the same lines, Bail Organa. Bail Organa, I love you, period. Bail is such a complex and flawed character that is somehow always in the right, even if he can be a little bit heavy-handed with the way that he's doing things. And I love how caring and resilient he is. Yoda. I'm big on Yoda. I love him so deeply. I think that Yoda singularly takes the blame for a lot of things that were not wholly his fault just because he was the oldest person in the room. And while yes, he was like the leader of this organization, I think that he had a lot on his shoulders. I don't know. I just feel like Yoda is a very misunderstood character. Count Dooku. Similarly to Mon, I love how much expansion on his character we have gotten since he was originally debuted with the prequels. He's got books now. He's got the 3 episodes of Tales of the Jedi. He's just such a fun character to dissect and really see what went astray in his life to lead him to where he ends up. I just feel like any prequel story is 100% better if Dooku's in it. Darth Maul. One that kind of surprised me that made it onto this list, but I couldn't see myself not having him. Maul is one of those characters that I love so much when I am watching things with him in it or reading something about him, and then I'll kind of forget about him until he pops up again, and then I'll be like, oh my gosh, this is why I love Maul so much, and then I'll forget about him again and he'll pop up again, and it's just a never-ending cycle. But he's sick. The more we get about him, the more I like him. Maul Shadow Lord was absolutely incredible. It did so much for his character and giving him even more depth and complexity. One of my favorite types of characters are the bad guys that you can kind of root for, and I think Maul firmly falls into that category. My next one, Bel Zettifar from the High Republic. It was really hard not to put a lot of High Republic characters on this, but at the end of the day, Bel is by far my favorite character from the High Republic, besides maybe Avar. Ninth person I have on here is Ezra Bridger. I know that Ezra is a very divisive character in a lot of Star Wars spaces. I personally really love him, both in Rebels and in Ahsoka, and I'm so excited to see where he ends up in Ahsoka Season 2. And also, I love his color scheme. The orange with the yellow and the green accents is just kind of very me-coded. And lastly, after a ton of deliberation, consideration, I believe my 10th favorite character is Yaddle. Yaddle isn't in a lot of stuff, but it just didn't feel right to not have her on this list. She very closely beat out Cassian and also Bix, but at the end of the day, I think that I love Cassian and Bix in the context of their own story and with the people around them, whereas Yaddle I like more as a singular character. She also beat out Din Djarin, who was really tough not to put on this list, but I think he kind of falls into the honorable mention category where Din and Grogu are definitely a unit and I can't really detach them from each other. Next question had me thinking for a very long time. What's your favorite song from any Star Wars soundtrack, movie, or shows? This question very graciously came from one of my best friends who I'm not sure has ever seen all of the Star Wars movies. Off the top of my head, Rey's theme, Leia's theme, the Force theme, and surprisingly Rhoda from The Mandalorian and Grogu. The Mandalorian and Grogu soundtrack as a whole is just absolutely incredible. I'm sorry, I can't believe I just made that whole list and I didn't say Duel of Fates. That was absolutely insane of me. Duel of Fates is the 5th. Again, not in order at all. Our next question from that same friend. Who is the hottest Star Wars character not including Jar Jar Binks? And I'm so glad that they gave that caveat because Jar Jar was going to be my answer. If I had to choose, I think it's probably that one droid from The Mandalorian and Grogu who is wearing the fur cape. Which character from the original trilogy would you most want to see get their own movie? This is an interesting one. In a pre-Solo world, my answer probably would have been Han and Chewie, but with Solo out already, I think I might have to say Luke. Or if I could cheat a little bit, what I really desperately want, and what I think a lot of other Star Wars fans want to see as well, is a movie about the time Luke and Leia spent together training. I just kind of want to see them together doing sibling stuff. But if I can't have that, I would really like to see a movie about Luke building his version of the new Jedi Order and him going to Leia and Han and being like, hey, your son is really strong with the Force and I think that I can train him and help him become a Jedi and he can help me rebuild the Order. Kind of a prequel to the book Shadows of the Sith, I think could be a really cool story to explore. And if I could just give one more answer, I'm so sorry, I think that we need more of Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo. It is a real shame that we have not seen him again, and it is especially a shame that we have not seen him together with Donald Glover's version of Lando. We need them back together. The next one we have is non-Star Wars related. Did you go to college? What is your degree in? I did go to college. I do have a bachelor's degree and it is actually in journalism. Well, it's in communications with a focus in journalism. The next two I think we can knock out really quickly, so let's do them together. Top 5 Star Wars sentient species and top 5 droids. Sentient species, no explanation and in no particular order. Thorians, Hutts, Yodas, Wookiees, Nikto. And for the droids, again in no particular order except for this first one is definitely my favorite, B2EMO from Andor, best boy of all time. SM-33 from Skeleton Crew, K2SO from Rogue One/Andor, Dio from the sequels. Actually, he might only be in Rise of Skywalker, but he is also in Shadows of the Sith. He was Ochi of Bestoon's droid. Shout out Jacob from the That's Just Crate podcast. He's big on Ochi. And my last one is BB-8. We've got two more. The first one being, why don't you read Legends/EU? The very short, kind of blunt answer to that is that I don't really want to at this moment. I haven't really been interested in reading Legends. I'm sure that at some point in my Star Wars journey, there will be a point in time where I decide to sit down and read at the very least all of the stuff that has been adapted into the Essential Legends collection. But right now, I'm just not super interested in it. My very last question, and I think something that is very apt to end the video on, is what's your dream for the franchise in 5 years? In the next 5 years, I really want to see more singular projects from Star Wars. And what I mean by that is things that don't really connect to the broader universe. I think when Star Wars chooses something kind of insignificant and focuses in on it is when we really get the best of Star Wars. Think Solo, think Skeleton Crew, The Mandalorian and Grogu. To a certain extent, The Acolyte, I think, also falls into this. The entirety of The High Republic, actually, I think kind of fits into this category because all of these things don't really matter in the terms of the Skywalker trilogy. I don't want them to completely abandon the Skywalkers. I think that there's still a lot of story that can be told around both that family and the new extended version of that family with Rey. I think it would be really nice to see some things filling in gaps, whether that be some Old Republic stuff or some stuff that ties in the rest of the High Republic into the Acolyte or the Acolyte into the prequels, or getting more information about an obscure character character that no one cares about right now. I think what makes Star Wars so great is that you can literally do anything with the franchise because the galaxy is so big and there's so many people within it and so many stories can be told over such a long period of time. I just really want to see the universe continue to expand in the way that it is currently. Overall, I think that Star Wars is in a pretty good position right now. I'm just so excited to be here in this moment and be able to experience all of this firsthand. I've been sitting here talking for a very long time, so I think we can cut it off here as we reach both the halfway point on my chronological order list and also the halfway point of the year. I just want to say a huge thank you for being here and being with me on my short form stuff. I have experienced a lot of growth over the past year, but also just over the past like month and a half that I really was not anticipating. And I know I say this all the time, but I really do enjoy making these videos and interacting with all of you guys. So it just means so much to me that people actually are interested in what I'm talking about. So thank you so much for being here. You seriously have no idea how much you are appreciated. I think that's it for this one. I will see you in the next one. Bye.